kind of put a hold on their negotiations until they find out what the state is gonna do. So, I don't know when they'll look into that again. That's pretty much it. When staff starting in the fall again, same day. We are new teachers the 31st. About it.
Okay. All right. Mr. Parker, we are to you, sir.
All right, so first off, I always talk about our attendance rates. Our attendance has, the absenteeism has gone up. I think it's a time of year where kids are kind of tired, but it's still looking better than it was last year at this time. Our March energy bus update, last month we gave out 122 success tickets. Again, we're seeing good things in our classrooms. Last month's high school and middle school Spartan Staff Member of the Month was Wendy Byrne and Juan Moreno. They both do great things for our high school, middle school staff, always willing to jump in, help out as needed. We're very lucky to have both of them on our staff. And then last week, we were very lucky to have the founder and CEO of Sports in Kansas here in our building. They presented on social media and the dangers and the positives of social media. The presentation was entitled Think Before You Post. And they just talked about how students need to be aware of their digital footprint and how it affects what they're doing. What they're doing now will affect them later on. He told a story about Josh Allen, the quarterback for Mr. E's Bills. And he was one of the he was going to come out as one of the top rated quarterbacks. He was going to be drafted really high, I think number 1 or number 2 overall. But they found tweets that he had made when he was in junior high. And then the teams were doing the research on him, and so he fell in the draft because of that. So that was one of the stories that they told. So it was a very informative. Kids really got a lot out of it. Very thankful that they were able to come out and kind of fit us into their schedule as they were doing other presentations around the area. So
That doesn't open your eyes.
which it worked out nice for you.
Make nasty tweets, you're gonna have to go play football on both of them. Good God.
God bless. Yep, glad you did.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any questions or anything? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Ms. Ball?
Yes, sir. Can't believe we're 6 weeks out from the end of the year. It's flying. Mr. Katz says drug testing's completed. Dental screening's happening tomorrow. Blood drive on the 18th if you want to come and donate. Twix, Mrs. Browning is going to be sending out a survey to see if there's still a need for continuation of the Twix program. And we talked about that coming to an end in 2 years, so she's going to be sending something out about that, just so you're aware when it comes out. We have a migrant family meeting on May 11th. And then, let's see, Learn and Play on the 25th. Ms. Weberg said that they are working on employability skills with her, those soft skills. And for Mrs. Shear, the energy bus theme for this month is Driving with Purpose. And for May, it's going to be Enjoy the Ride. And as far as our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, they've already begun their state assessments. Teachers are very proud of them. They've been working so hard, so they're very curious about how the results are going to turn out. But Mrs. Ploger said out of the 16 days in April that we have school, 8 of them they're testing. So it's a lot of testing. Something kind of cool, Miss Renna, earlier this year she wrote a playground grant for us, and she got us $5,000 for playground equipment. And so the 4th graders, they've been working on writing persuasive messages to the teachers to persuade them on what kind of playground equipment they think that we should purchase. And they're going to be writing advertising posters to hang up as well, so it's kind of neat. Other than that, we've got a lot of field trips getting ready to happen after all of our testing. So 2nd and 3rd grade is going to be going out to a ranch. Kindergarten, 1st grade is going to be going to bowling and to the zoo, and 4th and 5th grade is going to Scott Park. So, any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
I have nothing else. Now at the golf tournament,
Like, write it down, he has nothing to say.
now the guys, on my report, I didn't put the golf tournament because it hadn't occurred yet. But overall, we had 2017 signed up, 3 didn't show up, so we ended with 2014, which is one of the highest numbers they've had in a long time. Last year they only had 16 teams, which made the tournament go a little faster because, you know, only 16 with 18 holes, everyone had their own. And this time they had to have, they had to pair up with other teams. So right now, the senior class, they made that day $8,000 on there. They also went out and got a sponsor for every hole, so they can, you know, give out whole prizes on that stuff. It went well, other than just a miscommunication between us and the golf course on the lunch. Normally, it's said that we provide lunch for the golfers, but it's my first time, Denise's first time. So, you know, we thought that they knew about it, and when we called and asked, all they said they needed from us was the name of the team members that were going to be on it. So we didn't know that we needed to get lunch, but luckily we got everything settled, and we went to Denise's house and we got hot dogs grilled, and we started passing them out to all the golfers. But we got it done.
So,
Other than that, it went good. We're hoping next year, I think Mr. Parker and Mrs. Weberg are doing the golf tournament. I talked to Jason, you know, just to get an idea of how many teams Eagles is doing for their tournament, and he said 36. So we're trying to hit that number of 36 teams next year. But the dunes won't take us. The dunes won't take us unless we have more than 100 players out there, because they say that if they're gonna close down their golf course, then they might as well get their money's worth out of it. So they won't take us unless we have 100 people out there. Any questions? Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
All right, real quick, before I jump in, I want to give Mr. Moreno, he's been working really hard. He's had a lot of big events, the Clash at the end of March, even though, you know, Denise did a great job as well. She's our class manager, but Mr. Moreno was right there helping out, and that's one of his strengths, one of his, what do we call it? Blanked, not frustrated. Geniuses is enablement, and so helping folks and stuff, and he's just done a really good job with that. I had good positive feedback on that, and that was a good night. And so he's just been going a mile a minute on those things, so appreciate what he's been doing. On mine, legislatively, the governor was in Garden today at the high school. I think she was talking about grow your own teachers. But anyways, I've been keeping you updated. The Women's Fairness Sports Act, was vetoed by Governor Kelly, and then a couple weeks ago, before they adjourned, the House and Senate overrode that veto, so it'll go into law July 1st. The thing that you have to understand about that bill right now is that that's kindergarten through college, so that law affects recs. So you have to, I believe, I haven't dove into it, but the way it was being explained was like a rec would have to designate the team as like co-ed, or else you can't have boys and girls playing on the same team together after this law goes into effect. And so that'll be, so it's not just for middle school, high school sports or just college, and it goes all the way down. That was one thing they tried to get out of the bill, was to not be in the elementary, but they didn't take that out. And so I'm sure Denise gets updates, but if she doesn't, that's something that is gonna have to be made aware of when that goes into effect. And so, and what that bill says is that, only biological females can play on biological female teams and biological males play on biological males, teams and stuff and everything, so. It's been on the national news. President Biden, I don't know where it's at, he signed an executive order, I believe, essentially, and I don't know how far this is at, I don't know if he signed it or where it's at, but essentially, like the day after or 2 days after they overrode that, veto, that a school district who essentially followed that law that was put in place would not be eligible for federal funding, and things like that. And so, it'll be interesting to see how that all plays
He
out.
doesn't have the authority to do that.
Huh?
Pretty sure he doesn't have the authority to do that.
Well, yeah. So we'll see how everything, I mean, so federal funding, there might be people who say, we have a state board member on the State Board of Education who doesn't want to accept any federal money ever. But our food programs are federally funded. And so if you don't take federal dollar, I mean, there's a lot of other funding that goes to that, but just the food program alone, is federally funded and stuff,
So you're saying with that, like, what, say baseball wise, a girl couldn't play baseball? Where's that?
Right.
Cause I know where it's kind of going, but like, there are girls that do play baseball.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
so
they
wait a
could-
minute.
Unless they
Wait a minute.
classified it as co-ed.
Right.
Right.
And
So you have co-ed baseball,
yeah,
women's softball.
right. And so, and you might, I would have to read the law completely through. I don't know how it goes. I assume that it goes that way. It's called the Women's and Fairness, or Fairness and Women's Sports Act. So the talk has all been about biological females and stuff. So I
I'm thinking about it
assume,
from the other
Right.
side of a girl.
I'm assuming that as a girl, yeah.
Biological males from playing in women's.
Right.
Right.
Right, and that might be it, so the law might not say anything about a biological female playing baseball on a biological male.
Or football.
Right, yeah, or football or anything.
Right.
I haven't dove into the law that much and stuff, so, but yeah, so. And I was incorrect in one thing I put in there. The Parent Bill of Rights actually got lumped into the funding bill, SB 113. So it hasn't been, it's got tied into that bill. So the funding bill didn't get voted on that night. They adjourned before voting on the funding bill because there's a lot of other bad policies in there. And what happened that day was the Education Committee, right before they adjourned out of the education, it's the House Budget Education Committee and the Senate Education Committee, not the House Budget Education Committee. Right before they came out of committee and closed committee, they said, oh, we've got one more thing to add, and it deals with the funding, and we're gonna change. And essentially what they proposed was to freeze base state aid per pupil funding, which violates the Gannon lawsuit. They're a year out from, they could do it next year because the lawsuit ends at the end of this year. And so if they pass the bill as it currently is, they're violating, we'll end up back in court, again, if they do that. And so there's rumors that the reason it didn't go to the floor that morning was because, everybody started, KSDE or KSB started putting out how much every school district was set to lose if they passed SB 113 as was with that recommendation. And so people started blowing up their representatives and different things and stuff. And so they didn't take it to the floor because of that reason. So, so we'll see what happens there. When they come back into session, if they change that or not. If they pass it as is, we would lose about $165,000 in Deerfield is what we would lose if they froze funding. So, on that part of it. We just talked about facilities. It's on my to-do list to get with Andy and Bruce and Manuel and to see kind of where they're at and on things and how they're progressing forward. I just shared in there, we kind of went did a facilities walk tonight, and we need to continue working on putting together a 5-year plan at some point. not tonight, but we need to maybe have where does the FFA farm fit into that 5-year plan? If we're gonna commit to that and actually building a building and those type of things, where does that fit into the 5-year plan? Transportation hasn't changed, still not finding bus drivers, and things like that, still waiting on it. I know Jeremy got a call in our meeting the other day we were in, about the 14 passenger buses, and the guy was like, everybody's ordering these things right now, so it's like, we'll get you a quote, but he goes, I can't give you a timeline right now because every school district is ordering these buses right now, so. And then, yeah, Jeremy updated you on all that stuff, so.
So I saw where Mary Rich is back. Is she driving routes then, or?
Yeah, she's just subbing, she doesn't wanna do, so, yeah, like, maybe on a day where we have an activity, like Mike or somebody drives activities, then she can sub in to drive the bus and stuff like that and everything, so, yeah. There's no really changes in ESSER. And academics, shared with you, we'll meet, Mr. Moreno, Mr. Parker and I'll meet with the High Plains League. Mr. Z in Syracuse is having a surgery, and so they wanted to postpone our meeting of all of us getting together, and so we'll meet on the 24th of May in Lakin and just kind of talk about, and as I talked in there, it's really on Mr. Moreno now to be looking at schedules and creating those relationships and how we can benefit from that, especially at our middle school level, getting full schedules and stuff put together, because we haven't had a full middle school basketball season and things like that since I've been here. We haven't ever had 16 games in a basketball season, so that'll be state assessments like we talked about. Needs assessment, just so you know, the law that was passed, the buildings have been working on their needs assessments, so we'll compile all of that and we'll start going over that month for month starting next month. So you can look at that, and if there's any budget things or questions or decisions you want to make based on that needs assessment, then we will be able to do that, and that gives us a few months to be able to have those conversations. Kept our math and ELA state assessments in there from last year. You know, we can't hide from our state assessment scores, they're bad. There's no sugarcoating that at all, and so we have to, that's not our main focus. We're not in a No Child Left Behind time period now, and that's a good thing, where we're just teaching to a test and everything. But we've got to translate what we're doing that can translate into that test. And we can't be satisfied with those percentages in level 1 and the lack of percentages in level 3s and level 4s and things. And we have to figure out, we know our clientele, we know our students, we know all of their situations, and so we might not be able to approach things the same way other school districts approach things because of our kids and who we have. And so that's why personalize that learning, being very flexible in our deliveries and how we deliver, using high structure instructional practices, all of those things is extremely important. But that has to be part of it. We have to look at, and I know we've got things in place that we're doing that we should start seeing some of those results and stuff, and we just have to continue to get better. So in those areas, and that's not to, I'm not saying no, everybody's working hard, that's not what that is. It's just we have to continue to make sure we're putting it in. I mean, yes, we go longer days. I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it. We go longer during the day, but it still doesn't make up for the amount of time that we have, student contact time that we would have on a 5-day week, or that 5-day week schools have with kids. We just don't. You can just do the math. It just doesn't happen. And so we have to be very intentional with our time that we do have with our kids when we have less student contact time with our kids. In making those impacts and stuff. So, KISA report was submitted, so we'll wait on the governing bodies to rule on that. Really proud of our DLT, and once again, the staff as a whole, but our DLT spent that time working on it, and so really excited about that. There will be not a whole new, but a very changed KISA process presented this summer to the State Board of Education, and I'm assuming it'll be adopted. And assessment stuff is going to be pushed a little bit more in that process, but there'll be some things there. We brought you that proof of residency, and we're gonna put that in there. We'll clean that up and put that in for just new students starting to the district next year. And then that last part, if you have stuff on that last part, it's just something, I'm doing that leadership for tomorrow with KSBE. I was nominated, and I'm doing that in our first session, and we're a team of 8. There's 7 of you and me, and so the study was called the Grade 8, and referencing the Board of Education and the superintendent, and that highly effective boards and highly effective school districts, the boards spend over half their time focusing on and talking about student success and those different things and stuff, not talking about what engine the mower needs, and those type of things and stuff. And so if you have ideas and ways, talk to Jared, and or you can talk to me and about that, but just things, always looking for improvement and ways for all of us. And then financial is all in there. There is some stuff in that financial side that those around that sweeps account that you're going to be looking at here in a little bit. So there was some stuff in there, and I think Jared talked to you about that. That's how those bonds, or did you say all that? In terms of, we'll talk about it.
Not a law.
We'll talk about it. So there's stuff in there. The 3-year cost comparison I put on your tape, and then there's a couple in there because of the way the bills came out. Updated district valuation notices, I put those back in there because Raina called, and
Yeah, I went and looked.
yeah, Raina called, and so we labeled them so that which ones it was, because there were some of them, like I didn't, the swimming pool, I hadn't thought about that, and so the tennis courts, so we labeled those.
Those two jumped so much,
A lot of improvements.
which doesn't affect it. Yeah. Which doesn't affect us
Yeah.
because we don't pay tax on that,
Yeah.
but still.
Yeah. So, but I just wanted to put those back in there. And then, the other stuff is just work that I've been sharing with you around, pay, both teacher and administrative, and different benefits and different things like that. And contract links, and just different things as we look at making sure we're staying competitive and we can recruit and retain high quality staff, right? That's in our district, our new strategic plan that we're working on, that's one of the themes that you all came up with. And so how do we do that, right? And obviously there's only so much, right, that we can do, but do we have to think about things differently? And that's the competitive side in me. Like, we've been told no this year. I think this is the first time we've been told that I can remember. Maybe not. Maybe you guys remember, Mrs. Ball, you remember, but I can't remember a time before this year we've been told no because of salary. And we've been turned down because of salary this year. And once again, I'm not attacking the 4-day week. And for people that are in it, they love it, right? And it's important to them and stuff. But I'm telling you, and speak up and tell me I'm wrong, but when we talk to people and recruit people, they like the idea of it, and then but they don't want to take a pay cut, a less salary, to work a 4-day week, right? That's not, huh?
Like Eastern Kansas has now incorporated 4-day weeks and early release Wednesdays every week, so that perk for us is kind of gone by the wayside, and they're hiring tons of people in Eastern Kansas now because the pay is a little bit higher and they have a 4-day work week. Just
So
wanted
the
to.
4-day work week's a perk, but it's not, people aren't willing to to take less salary, right, to come do a 4-day work week.
I have a problem with the 4-day work week being called a perk. You work longer days
It's
and
still, for me, like, it's still the same number of
it's still the same
hours.
number of hours. I mean, I mean, I know teachers look at it, they love it, and I'm gonna admit, but still, I mean,
But if
the
you
number
ask-
of hours is the same, no matter
Right,
if it's
but if you ask
packaged
me if
in.
I would rather work 5/8 or 4/10s,
Uh-huh.
I'd rather work 4/10s,
The structure's the best.
Mhm.
8 days a week.
The structure's the benefit, it's still the same number of hours that you're working, so it's still the pay issue.
Yeah.
I mean,
But like, and I started digging through a little bit of that and putting some numbers to it. And yeah, we're low
Mhm.
compared to places. But if you factor in our salary and our benefits, like what we pay for health insurance, and factor that in, we're middle of the road with all the rest of the districts in the state.
there's somebody else out here going to 4 days next year, I can't remember who I read, or somebody nearby.
I don't know.
But anyway.
So, anyway, and then obviously, just because we had that, you guys approved the bond sale and we just, the last month was really good for our bond sale, and so we got that 3.78%, which was about 0.9% of what was being used in the bond campaign, lower than what was being used in the bond campaign, and so we got a double A rating on the bond at the end of it all. Which is a really a positive, so that was a good positive there, so. Alright, I'm done.
Questions?
Yeah.
All right. Item number 7. So this was on here last month. We're talking before. Matt has found a grant opportunity that he's working on, correct?
Yeah.
That if we get it, would maybe provide funding to redo doors, cameras, so it would all be tied into the same system. Whereas if we did this, doors would be on a separate system. So the thinking is, we kill this for now and see where that goes. We tabled it last month, so it's here. I don't know that we keep tabling it. I don't know if that's the right thing to do until, because I mean, that quote can't be good forever.
No, and that bond, I mean, we're pushing this down the road a little bit, that bond, that grant won't be awarded until October. So, but, and we will have to send back the little bit that we got for the Safe and Secures grant.
By the 30th.
That $4,000 and some dollars, we'll have to send that back because we won't use it this fund year, so.
Can we still use the $4,000 and get like the new crash bars and stuff instead of replacing the doors? Get the hardware for that with that $4,000 maybe?
I'll say, is there nothing that we
Something
can
like
get
that.
for?
I could look into the grant and see what I'd have to go back, I can't remember, I have to look into the
Yeah.
grant and see what.
Because we have to match it, right?
That's magic.
Yeah, we have to match it, so, yeah.
But still, if we could spend $8,000 and
And do something.
take care of that.
Yeah, I can look at the grant, we can look at the grant, we can look at the grant, see what the specific.
But that has to be done by the end of the month.
Before
June.
before
end of
June 30th.
Okay.
Fiscal year.
Cause that's, the only electronic mag locks you have is on the far outside doors, correct?
Yeah,
So these are just regular panic bars on this inside set of doors.
yeah. Yeah. So.
So are we okay just letting this die?
I am. Especially now.
Okay. Alright, New business, 8.1, consideration to approve KSB membership for the 23-24 school year. So that's included.
What's the option 2 package include? See
Where's
the
that book at?
season pass deal, that's an extra $17.20.
Yeah, so option 2 would add that season pass, which is like different trainings and stuff that they offer that you would be able to attend and do for free and things like that, so. We haven't never done that, I mean, cause a lot of these trainings are for you guys, I mean, I do stuff, they do stuff with leadership through KSB. And they partner with USA Kansas sometimes to do stuff with principals and things like that, but a lot of these would be, things that you guys wanna take advantage of, and stuff.
So we're talking 48.
Yeah, we just do option, we've always just done option 1 and then the legal.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they bill it like that, they invoice it like that to give you that, and then we just say, no, we want option 1. And I think I selected that on the membership form in there.
Yeah,
that's
it's
attached.
circled there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, if you guys want that added on, we can, but it's,
We don't, we won't utilize it, like they don't take as much. Unless they go to every single one.
That's really valuable.
I think, thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Dr. Carlin from Garden City, he works for KSB now, a little bit. One piece of advice he's given is if he, as a superintendent, what he wished he would have done early on, whether, his board was awesome and got along and worked really well together and all of those things or not, like, that he would have always encouraged his board to at least do some kind of training at least once a year. Just as a refresher and stuff and everything together, just, because then it just kind of becomes a normal thing, and when you get a couple of new board members here and there, it just it's the norm, it's not like, oh, we got some new members, we gotta do this training type of thing and stuff, and so.
Hey Tyson, real quick.
Yeah.
Are you okay if we ask Tim to stay?
Yeah.
For the very first part of the exec, maybe?
Yeah.
To talk about what we talked about a little bit?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Also, please do not forget, while we're off topic, waiting for her to come back in, you have to file, 5 of you are up for re-election if you wanna run on board again so by June 1st.
Really?
So,
5?
yeah, you 2 are the only 2 that don't, because these 2 are filling terms, so you only get to go next election,
Isaac ran.
and they all ran, so yeah.
I'll go register.
You wanna trade? You can stay.
So, just throw that thing.
Oh, no, you are. I've already got your shit filled out.
So y'all can.
It's a $10 bill with your name. All right, so we good with the KSB? Somebody wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mary and Isaac, any more discussion? All in favor? 7. All right, so try to get through this so we can get Mr. Park out of here, but consideration to accept bids for the wood shop. That was all open up to employees.
Yeah. Had a few weeks they've submitted sealed bids to Kelsey, and then we all opened them together, and then
And we'll put the planer on
Purplewood.
Purplewood.
I make a motion to sell them as a Cam Anderson bids.
I'll second.
Chris and Aaron. All in favor? 7. So we give them a time frame they have to get it out of there?
I think we gave them like a week or 2, yeah, because we gotta get it cleaned out, so I think we told them in the
Yes.
email for sub bids, you had a week after after you guys approved it to get it out.
All right, so the 8.3 is what we added, the cash sweep account, so that's approving setting up the account at Kearney County Bank to
put the money in from the bond. And that's, I think we talked a little bit about it. But that will be split up into $250,000 chunks. So it's all FDIC protected.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's been who I talked to.
Yeah.
But Greg got on a call. I asked Greg from Raymond James to get on a call with Bob Beamer at KCB, and so to kind of see if he agreed with their approach. And Greg said that was a really good approach for what we're doing and the potential drawdown schedule and all of those things and stuff. So
So we just need a motion to approve doing that.
opening that cash sweeps account. Yeah.
He told you how it works, right? I want to do a money market like that one day.
Amanda, do you have a second? Chris? All in favor? 7.
And that'll close. The bond will close on the 27th. So that's the money will be wired on that day, and then we'll have those accounts open and they'll go out.
All right. I'm gonna make the motion, the board go into executive session with Mr. Esslinger and Mr. Parker, actually to discuss personnel pursuant, non-elected personnel exception under coma, and then return to the open meeting in, how long are you gonna need?
Not too bad.
So 9 o'clock.
8:45.
What time is it?
8:15.
8:45.
No. 8:30?
Always out of time.
8:40.
Guys are gonna regret this.
We can come out early. We'll come out early if we have to. We'll keep Mr. Parker for a little bit and then we'll kick him loose.
We need to get a side, like a bookie gig going on this thing, like have people
8:30.
take bets, take money on the side.
Huh?
How long exactly?
We'll try for 8:30. All right, I think it's a mistake. Do we have a second?
I'll say,
Keith seconds, all in favor? 7. I think we're gonna be.
What'd you say, 8:40?
8:30.
Oh.
No way.
I think,
He's being.
we're not gonna make it. I'm just gonna prove you wrong.
Alright, there's one addition on here, alright? Rena?
Okay.
So I'll make the motion. I know, that's fine.
Good luck.
We approve employment to Leah David, high school, middle school, fax ag teacher for the 23-24 school year. Lisa Brummels, high school math, Amy Browning, second grade, Guadalupe Hernandez, K-12 music. Supplemental contracts, Kelsey McAtee, high school, or head middle school volleyball. Leah David, assistant middle school volleyball, Jennifer Weaver, National Honor Society, Adam LaRue, high school, head football, Zach Toll, high school head boys basketball, Kale Warden, high school assistant football, Jenna Miller, high school assistant volleyball, Dennis Weberg, head cross country, Cheryl Smith, head cheer, Lauren Hastings is an FFA sponsor, Leah David is an FFA sponsor, Kenley Shear, high school Stuco, Lauren Hastings is sophomore class sponsor, Kenley Shear is a senior class sponsor, Adam LaRue is middle school head boys basketball, Shelley Harper, middle school head girls basketball, Alex Navarrete, middle school assistant boys basketball, Nancy Miranda, middle school assistant girls basketball, Wendy Byrne, middle school Stuco. Accept retirement letter from Virginia Esslinger, and resignation from Kale Warden as the assistant high school girls basketball coach. Did I get it all?
What did you add?
Did you do the
Leah
FFA?
David.
Oh.
Leah David is an FFA
I can't,
sponsor.
on the, it's not
I wrote
showing
it down.
on my minutes,
Oh.
none of the supplementals.
Oh.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. So, did not want to read that again. In another motion. Any discussion? All in favor? 7. All right, I'll move the board going to executive session. Mr. Esslinger, Ms. Rayna, to discuss negotiation items pursuant to the exception for employer-employee negotiations under coma and open meeting at, say, 8:55.
8:55.
10 minutes. So we really have to letter at this point. All right, so,
Need a second.
oh yeah,
Second.
I moved, Mary second, all in favor? 7-0. All right. Good news. Keith? You can start.
I'll go with our facilities. I think Jeremy has a good plan in place, and I think he sees the things that need to improve it. I think he was doing a good job getting everything lined up, things that we can do, that we can afford to do on a tight budget, but pretty impressed with him. Just hopefully the execution's there. The ideas are there. So excited for that, excited for the wear. That's gonna be really nice. Good benefit for our kids.
I think just the success of the clash and I would applaud the efforts, like you said, of Mr. Moreno and Mrs. Musil for putting that together.
Say it's good that we got as much interest as we do to fill these slots for our teachers and everything else.
You guys got 3 or 4.
Trap season's going, so it's like they're doing a pretty good job. They didn't get out there yet.
Give me a minute, go.
I like the balance on the Facebook page, like you're getting to see all 3 schools and what's going on, like the elementary, there's like a post, it's almost like, I don't know if it's a post a day for, like each school has a post a day, but I really like that there is a balance on the Facebook page, so you can see, especially middle schools, been doing a lot of neat things here lately that have been shared, it's been pretty neat, so hopefully that keeps going.
The interactive boards, I saw when there were the event that was here that Saturday for the funeral, I saw a lot of people were sharing things that they found on it. So it was kind of cool to see people using that.
Yeah, that was fun, getting to see that.
Oh yeah, there's probably a lot of people in that group that was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go back.
We had some people like from the '90s that were here, and that hadn't been back in a long time, and so then they saw, oh, I'm gonna share this out so people know they can get on your website and go look at the senior panels and like those different things and stuff, so.
So it is on our website, links to it.
Yeah, it's down there. It's called like the Wall of Honor. It's down there by the, like where the high school, middle school, elementary pages are at, athletics pages. You just click on it and it takes you out to the, what you stand in front of the TV. So, yeah.
Oh. Oh no, I would say, because I'm just appreciative of having an understanding and supportive co-board members. I apologize for not like having to cancel Monday night. I don't have enough here to have a quorum, but being willing to show up the next morning to get stuff done and come back and finish it up tonight, so. So I think this is, I don't know, year 13. Or some, I don't know, ridiculous number. Of being on the school board, it's by far the most cohesive group I've, it's actually not unpleasant in the meeting most of the time. It was not that way for the first 8 years I was on. So.
Speaking of the Wall of Honor, maybe we need to put this on again for the next, I think we as a board need to do something to jumpstart that. I know we haven't had any luck with
Just do the first round.
Let's do the first round. I'm willing to, help, because I think it's something we need to get going, and instead of just putting it out there, we need volunteers for a committee, maybe, let's think of some people that we might ask, or maybe just a few of us just jump-started the first year. I know, I've looked at like the committees from some other schools and really it's board members, administration, athletic director, you know, it's really not a lot of, so I would like to
Yeah.
get that.
I like that, cause then you go to the class, you do your first year, and then at the class,
Yeah.
there'll be people there that you can kinda, hey,
Oh,
we're
that'd be a
looking
good
for,
idea.
Yeah,
Try
we,
to get
to
them.
put together
we
a
need
committee
to,
and.
we need to jumpstart it and get it going. And some of you have more history in the district than I do, you know, or, you know, to go further back, let's, you know, let's go back and, you know. Really.
Yeah.
I
You
just
just
think,
said history and it just triggered. You need to stop by Raina's office. She has a folder. She showed the ones that got to come in Monday night, but you need to stop by and look at, she found a bunch of old bond documents from like the 50s bond, 60 bond, like, it was pretty cool just looking at them and stuff and like that. So if you're interested, it's cool and worth the time to just take a quick look and see how those compare then to now and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Okay, anything else? We're adjourned.